The Hornets are at the halfway point. Two familiar faces return to the Carolina Panthers organization, and we have our first guest joining us on the Crown Score podcast. Guys, we did it. We have our first guest joining us today. Tommy Viola of the Charlotte Knights.
Hey, let's get it. Let's talk some baseball. It's that time.
A-lister. That's a big-time name right there, fellas.
But
especially in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get to them, we got to talk Hornets. They're at the halfway point. 17-18 at the break, currently 7th in the Eastern Conference. It's been a fun season. You had the Terry Rozier game winner in Golden State, or against Golden State. You had the Miracle After Midnight Part 2. LaMelo Ball has stolen the show. Reggie, how confident are you that this team can make the playoffs?
I think they will make the playoffs. At the very least, obviously, we know they're going to make the play-in tournament, if you will, 7 through 10. But I think they got a chance to make the playoffs. And I think the reason why is some of the teams that are sort of ahead of them, I think you can expect some teams to kind of come back. And I also think some teams probably behind them are gonna ascend a little bit. Kind of surprised so far with how not great the Toronto Raptors have been in the first half. You expect them to play better. Some different teams like that, Miami as well. But at the same time, that will help bring some other teams back to this Hornets franchise. And the other piece of it is I think there's a renewed level of confidence when you just look at the organization and the team itself. At the beginning of the year, there were questions about whether Gordon Hayward was a good signing, what Terry Rozier would be. Remember, he was scary Terry when they first brought him here. And then LaMelo, what was the rookie going to become? And you look at the signs of the first half. You've seen P.J. Washington have his moments. You've seen Bridges, actually, who is a guy that I've often talked about in terms of what exactly is he in terms of his skill set. What do you expect him to be? But he's been consistently effective, to say the very least. And then obviously the development of LaMelo Ball has been phenomenal to watch. Look, he's going to continue to make mistakes. That's going to be part of what he is as a rookie. But at the same time, he's going to continue to make plays, which we've seen throughout this first half.
Yeah, totally agree, guys. I mean, look, this is a Hornets team that I think against Minnesota where they put up 100 points in 3 quarters the other night. I mean, they're steamrolling offensively right now. LaMelo Ball, we've talked about the impact on the court, but also, this is a team now that's getting some recognition, that's getting some run. You're seeing them on SportsCenter. You're seeing the highlights on Twitter, and it seems like on a nightly basis. And I'm not saying that equates to wins, but that equates to picking up steam in terms of confidence and also getting the PR thing going. Just your notoriety picking up. There's a buzz, no pun intended, around this team right now. And I think what you're seeing is the infusion of LaMelo Ball's energy right now. I think along with Hayward, his contributions, Rozier's picked up his game. There's just more energy. There's more juice this year in that building. And it's a COVID environment. There's, limited capacity around there, but it's not in a bubble. So you're back at home. You're playing in your environment. And I think that's helped them. It's helped this team. They're 7th right now in the Eastern Conference. What more can you ask for from this team? I mean, that's a great place to be right now. And you still got the other half of the season coming up. So who knows how far they can climb moving forward in those standings. But it's an exciting team to watch.
No, they do have some buzz around them. I will use that word. And it's I think they're appointment television. I mean, I make sure I tune in for the start of Hornets games now. And now this week, we're finally going to have some fans in the building to finally actually be able to see this team in person. And I think people are really excited to come see this team now.
I think there's a sense of hope right now, right? There's a sense that this organization is going in the right direction, which is up. Right. They realize that, they're going to have to be smart in the draft the next couple of years, be smart in free agency. Don't maybe give out a contract that doesn't make sense. I still think and thought at the time that the Gordon Hayward signing was a good one. I still believe that.
Same here.
And at the end of the day, you've got to have something that folks feel like that can help win games. And I think Gordon Hayward, obviously, along with LaMelo Ball, does that. Now, I think the elephant in the room is what do you do in terms of Rozier versus Devontae Graham? And the big problem is you've got 2 guys, even Malik Monk as well. You've got 3 guys in that kind of backcourt rotation that have shown flashes, but no one has shown you that for multiple years in a row at a time. So it's hard to decipher which guy to pay and which guy to let walk away maybe.
And speaking of winning games, 2 guys that have won a lot of games in this city are going to sign a 1-day contract with the Carolina Panthers later this week. Greg Olsen, Thomas Davis, they're going to retire. They're going to sign one-day contracts with Carolina before calling it a career so they can retire as Panthers. And John, as our resident Panthers expert and Panthers fan, how good does this feel for you?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, look, Thomas Davis, we'll start with him. His impact is long-lasting. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner for this team back in 2014. And look, I talked to Nick Carboni, our friend from WCNC, the other day, and he posted a clip of his first career sack, which was against Tom Brady. Wearing the old 47 is sort of a hybrid safety joker. He came in that first season with John Fox and that Mike Turgeback defense and filled right in. He was an impactful player from day one and always found a way to get involved in big games and big situations. Got the fumble recovery when you needed it, got the strip sack when you needed it, got key interceptions throughout his career. But he was just the locker room guy. Had 3 ACL tears, came back from each of them stronger than ever, and was the epitome of what we always talk about with keep pounding with Sam Mills. He carried that lifeline beyond, Sam's existence there when Sam passed away in 2004, or 2005, I believe it was. TD picked up that mantle and was the guy that the locker room turned to as the inspirational guy, that he can come back from 3 different knee surgeries, 3 different injuries, and a bevy of other injuries as well throughout his career. But those big 3, to come back from that, his legacy is just that of a guy with unlimited toughness and just an underrated skill set. He was overshadowed a little bit by Kuechly, I believe, much of his career. He also played beside another really good guy in John Beeson. And, man, what a core they had for a while together. And Greg Olsen, hey, one of Marty Hurney's greatest deals. I mean, back in 2011, bringing Greg Olsen in via trade, getting him away from the Bears and giving Cam Newton that great safety valve he needed. But he turned into more of a safety valve than we would imagine in terms of his downfield ability, his ability to make plays down the hash. One of the premier tight ends in the league. I think he sets the record, still holds it for the consecutive 1,000-yard seasons for tight ends. So and off the field, these guys are just second to none. You're talking about Walter Payton Award winner, a runner-up, a guy who, Greg Olsen does a lot of work with the Levine's Hospital, has gone through his own personal journey with his child. And I wish them all the best. It's going to be great fun watching them both retire right here in Carolina.
Yeah, I echo many of those same sentiments, and let me hit on Greg Olsen first. I think you were spot on, John, when you made the comment about what he did for Cam Newton. I thought his presence was one of the single most important factors of probably 2 that allowed Cam Newton to become what he became, particularly in 2015, in that 15-1 season, when you've got a guy that you can trust, when you've got a guy that opens up the other half of the field, or the midsection of the field, I should say, that allows your 2 wide receivers to really work on the perimeter. It just changes the dynamic, I should say, of an offense. And so you look at that from that standpoint, it's great. Let me give you a quick anecdote on Greg Olsen. A couple of years ago, I was out somewhere with a couple of friends of mine, just having a quick meal, maybe an adult beverage. And Greg Olsen was in the same establishment sitting outside. It was, early in the summer kind of thing with his entire family. And I saw him, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, is that Greg Olsen?" I'm like, "Yeah, but he's with his family. Like, I'm not going to bother him, whatever."
Of course.
And some kids were around, and they realized who he was, and they went over there, and he single-handedly spent time with every single one of them, talked to all of them, and you could hear some of the conversation. And it wasn't just, "What's your name?" "Okay, I'm Greg. I'm walking away." He was really concerned with who these people were as humans. And I thought that was an excellent illustration of the man that Greg Olsen is. And then Thomas Davis on the flip side, look, 3 ACLs, enough said, right? And the way he just continued to play at a Pro Bowl level, whether he made it or not each year, didn't matter because he brought it every single week, every single season. His toughness, his physicality, his versatility. I think that's just the epitome of what you look for in a football player. And I've seen Thomas Davis out in the community as well, doing different things with his family, and he's always gracious with his time for people in the community as well. So 2 guys that, not only were they Titans on the field, but they're Titans in this community as well. So you have to do nothing but give them credit and appreciate the years that they put in for this organization. So I think it's great that they get the opportunity to come back, get a one-day contract, and retire as Panthers.
I met Greg a couple of years ago at a feature shoot for Channel 9. He was coaching his son's youth baseball team. And let me tell you, that was an experience. I mean, he was so intense on the field, but he wanted to make sure those kids got better every day. And it was evident. And it was such a unique experience. And, you know, it was very cool to see him interact with the kids. As you said, Greg, or Reggie, I can attest to it personally. I mean, it was awesome to see.
Yeah. Well, he could be a coach. Let me tell you, there's a Panthers.com clip that I reposted and gave them, shout out for. This is back in 2019. Preseason clip against the Bills where he's coaching right there with Rivera on the sidelines in a 2-minute drill situation right before halftime. And his awareness, this is what's going to make him so great in the booth, assuming that's where he moves on. It looks like it's going to be that case. But he could be a coach if he wanted to. He is, and he obviously with his kids and coaching kids, he's so good at that, relating and communicating. But he just has such a great awareness of the game situationally. I think that's a lot of what's been missing for this Panthers team, honestly, is just having that kind of guy on the field who knows the down and distance, the time on the clock, the situations. He is going to be missed. He already is. But I'm glad he's coming home as a Panther. That's a big deal.
So as far as the Panthers roster goes, it might be looking a lot different next week. Diana Ricci tweeted last week that, and I want to get this out there before we bring on our first guest, that it could be a massacre this week. But Ian Rappaport said that before Tuesday's deadline, he expects the Panthers to place the franchise tag on Taylor Moton. I think that's a no-brainer, right?
They absolutely should. If you're going to use the franchise tag this year, it better be on the best offensive lineman you have under contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. We've had this conversation before, guys, about shoring up your offensive line, and you got to start with that right tackle. You have, a situation where it's going to be a franchise tag. It looks like that at least buys you one more year to make that long-term decision. But having him opposite whoever they decide to go left tackle, that's still a key here. Do they go first round with that? Do they go look for a free agent? Do they make a trade for Trent Brown? There's some names being thrown out there right now that could be available. But at least, by all reports, you're going to have at least one of those rock solid guys locked up. And I'm glad to see that for Carolina's sake and for whomever plays quarterback in the future for this team. That's a big deal. You need that side protected.
Well, we did it, guys. It's our fourth episode, and it's our first one that we had not mentioned Deshaun Watson.
Yes. Well, maybe next week.
Maybe we just did. All right. What do you guys say we talk some baseball with our first guest?
Let's get it.
We are so excited to have our first guest on the Crown Score podcast, Tommy Viola of the Charlotte Knights. Tommy, welcome to the podcast.
Guys, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and I can't believe I'm the first guest.
You're the first guest. You're
the first guest.
You could do. You got me here for the first guest.
You're the bravest person we have to come forward and spend some time with us.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The Knights, they posted a tweet this week announcing some news about the Charlotte 49ers playing the College of Charleston on March 20th. But the tweet said, "It's time to eat a hot dog, drink a cold beer, and watch a ball game." Doesn't that sound so good after that awful 2020 we had where you had no Knights baseball?
Yeah, it's America's favorite pastime, right? Let's safely get people back into the ballpark. Let's have some fun like we used to. Of course, watch a baseball game, have a hot dog, have a few drinks, and just have a good time. For us, it's been a long time since we've had baseball here. The last Charlotte Knights game here was over 600 days ago. So it seems like a very long time ago. But no baseball here last year in 2020. We're looking forward to 2021. And we're excited that the 49ers will play the first game here on March 20th. And then hopefully some more college games. And then hopefully we're talking on May 4th about Charlotte Knights baseball.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, do you have any details about 2021, the upcoming season that you can share with us?
Yeah, right now we have a schedule. We had a schedule for April 6th. Was supposed to be our opener. We were going to open up in Jacksonville against the Jumbo Shrimp. Excited to see the Jumbo Shrimp this year. But we had a schedule, and we were going to have our first home game on April 13th. And then, Major League Baseball, trying to, follow all the guidelines and be as safe as possible, decided, let's push the season back to May. Let's just make sure that everybody is safe, and let's make sure that we're ready to go. So right now, our schedule starts May 4th here at Truist Field against the Gwinnett Stripers. We're excited to have some baseball, and we'll have a 120 game season with 60 home games this year. So looking forward to it.
Tommy, just tell everybody how important it is for obviously ownership of the team, but even ballpark employees at the minor league level to have games. It's very different in terms of the model from Major League Baseball to minor league baseball. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, yeah. I mean, for us, what we did, when we found out last year that we wouldn't have a season, we found other ways to keep this ballpark open. I mean, we had to put on other events and do different things. And, we weren't able to bring back as many game day employees. So when we finally do host a game here, we'll be bringing back a lot of game day employees, which will be great. And it's a fun atmosphere. I mean, you guys know, you've been to games. I mean, there's so much going on. There's excitement, there's this, there's that, there's food, there's drinks. Oh, and then there's a baseball game. So, for us, we're excited to be able to bring people back in safely. Our capacity is going to be at 30%, following all local and state guidelines. So for us, this is a ballpark that, we were very fortunate to have sellout crowds of over, 10,000 fans here. We're just happy to be able to welcome some fans back and do so starting as early as March 20th with the first college game.
Tommy, organizationally, we've all dealt with COVID on a business side. We've all seen the implications, and it's been a long ride. You've mentioned 600 plus days of no baseball for your organization. From a baseball perspective, what have been the biggest challenges battling through this COVID epidemic?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're baseball people. I mean, I've been in the baseball industry for, 15 years. Our COO has been in it for over 35 years. Our GM, over 30 years. I mean, so we're baseball people. So for us, putting a baseball game on, we were used to that. And then what we found was, and it was certainly difficult, is to figure out a way to get fans in here, certainly to do it safely, but also find events that were going to be fun for families. I mean, we did pumpkin patches here at the ballpark. We had people playing disc golf on the field. We weren't exactly sure how to do that, but we certainly found some great opportunities to do things. And I think, what we found was these are some really great events that, we may not have done in years past, but these are events that are probably going to become staples here now, that we've done them and they've worked out well. We turned this ballpark into a Christmas village in December, and it turned out to be just, so much fun. I mean, we saw families coming out, and so that's going to be something we're going to do every year now. So I think the challenge was, first and foremost, being as safe as possible, make sure people are following guidelines, and then two, find those events that are going to be fun for the family, bring them here, and and hope that you start something that could be an annual event.
Well, Tommy, I mean, you guys put on so many different shows, as you said, but I think what people are looking forward to most is getting back out to the field, seeing the Knights play. I mean, you've had some great prospects come through the last few years, and Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, who have gone on to the major league level and have really just exploded. Is there anybody that you are aware of now that we might see this year that people can go out and see and expect to see at the major league level?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, the White Sox organization on a whole, I mean, we saw last year they went to the playoffs. They've been building for the future now for a number of years. We go back to having Tim Anderson here, as you said, Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Lucas Giolito, Luis Robert. I mean, if you look at that White Sox lineup from top to bottom right now, almost, I can't say everybody because we didn't have Jose Abreu, a couple of guys, but almost from top to bottom, every one of those players have come through Charlotte. And, you look at other organizations, and a lot of times you can't say that, that all these guys have been homegrown. And I think that's the model of success now. I mean, sure, it's great to sign a free agent and bring them in and put them up. For us, we've seen the value in these guys developing here in Charlotte and then going to the major league team and helping out. So, who that next guy is, there's some names we've seen right now in spring training, a guy like by the name of Gavin Sheets, who has surprised a lot of people and just been really have a good spring so far, had a very good 2019 season. I hope we see him. It's always hard to say. We're 2 months away from baseball here.
Right.
So it's hard to say what's going to happen and how that's going to work. But the one thing I could say is there are a lot of prospects in this organization. And I think, and Wes Helms has said it, our manager, we're going to have a good team here. And he's pretty confident in that. And I think it's, it's the organization model right now that they've just continued to build from within. And, the last time we played baseball here in 2019, I said, Luis Robert was here. He was now second in the American League and Rookie of the Year last year. So these guys are developing. And in 2019, there were a lot of good young prospects in Birmingham and Kannapolis. Now those guys are going to, make the move up a little bit higher, the AAA. So, to give you a few names is kind of tough right now, but I think on a whole, I think we're going to have some really good prospects here.
Opening night, May 4th for the Charlotte Knights. Tommy, when can fans start buying tickets?
Yeah, so right now, the whole thing with tickets, and one thing I'll say is go to charlotteknights.com. We have all the information there. There's a wait list. We have season membership holders right now that, we're working with them to figure out their seating, because the other thing is seating has changed, right? So if you're a season ticket holder and you have your regular seat, probably a chance you won't get it this year just by the social distancing and all the different things that we're going to do. So best thing to do for tickets is go to charlotteknights.com. We have all kinds of information there. Get on a wait list if you're interested, and we'll reach out to you when we have more details. The one thing I'll say is we're all looking forward to May 4th. We're hopeful that that's our start, and then we could kick off the season, and we can give our fans 60 great games here at Truist Field.
Well, Tommy, I'll tell you, I'll just jump in real quick and give the fans a little bit of this. I've been to the ballpark and I've sat in seats. I've sat in like the indoor, the inside club area, if you will, as well. And I've done the outfield grass. Not a bad seat in the ballpark. I know this is kind of an unfair question for you, but for you, where's your favorite place to sit in the ballpark?
Oh man, I'm in the press box, morning, noon, night. I'm here all day. I might have a bed in here to sleep in. But my favorite spot in the ballpark is the press box. And one of the fun things I love to do is I love to show off my view. I'm right behind home plate. I'm high up in the press box, and I get to see everything out here, and it's just awesome. And one of the things that really even makes it special is, I've been in the same spot. I might not have left. I've been in the same spot since 2014, and I've seen this city and this skyline grow and come together over the years, and it's just been awesome. And to watch a game from up here has been special. And right now I'm looking at you guys, but I could see the field. It's right in front of me. Looks good. The weather's nice. I'm ready for some baseball.
I mean, it's the best backdrop in all of baseball. And I mean that at the major league level too. It's so gorgeous.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. This skyline is, it really is. It's beautiful. And to see it during the day like it is now or at night, it really is special. And, one of the things we've always heard from fans is they want to sit on the third base side so they could see the skyline. So that's always been good. And, it's baseball with a view, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No doubt.
He's Tommy Viola of the Charlotte Knights. Tommy, thank you for coming on as our first guest of the Crown Score podcast.
Well, as the first guest, I want to say thank you guys so much. Love the show. Keep doing it. And anytime you need some baseball talk, I'm here for you.
Well, that was a fun discussion with Tommy to talk some baseball, and hopefully we'll have him back on in the future.
Let's get him back. Baseball. Let's do it. Baseball is always fun to
Love talking baseball.
Especially going to a game. It's actually, I'm telling you, I really enjoy being at Truist Field. It's a good place to go watch a ball game.
It's a great atmosphere. It's a great atmosphere, great backdrop, and always a good time. That's going to do it for this episode of Crown Score. We'll see you next week.
Peace.